you're listening to the Mackay T Show podcast. Here are your hosts, Ryan Mackay and T Davis.
What time is it?
It's time for the Mackay T Show.
What time is it?
I said it's time for the Mackay T Show.
Welcome back to the Mackay T Show podcast. T, we said we spoke about it a little bit Monday, but neither one of us had seen the interview at the time.
Right.
So now that we've had a couple of days to digest and join the rest of the world,
The other 17 million or something people that got the
yes, everybody saw this, and honestly, that shows you why. Like I was telling you about The Crown on Netflix, that shows you why a series like that is so popular. Because this family is just so big and so meaningful to so many people that folks would take time out this Sunday to watch Oprah interview two people that, by all accounts, are disassociated from the family.
They what disowned? Pretty much almost disowned. Cut off, I guess, is the word he used.
Yes. I mean, goodness gracious. Couldn't even get an Uber to the palace if they wanted to. Felt like prisoners.
Well, here's the thing. Okay, let me start at the beginning. So Oprah, she started the conversation, and I don't know if we might have talked about this off the air, but and the young lady, like, I didn't, I love the guy Harry, and I didn't even care about the royal piece, but I was like she didn't know what the life would be like, and she didn't even try to find out from what she told Oprah. And I was like, well, that's the problem number one, because that's like saying, Brian's like, T, come and move to Uruguay with me, and we're going to have a life ride, and we're going to do the show, and then I don't be like, what? I don't do no research on what he talking about taking me?
I'm just going to pack up and move.
Yeah, we can go. And then when she said that she met the queen, and she just like, oh, I'm just meeting another grandparent. It wasn't no big deal in my mind. But then when they asked her, did she know how to curtsy? And she didn't know how to curtsy. And I was like, And I was with her a little bit, though. Like, who? I'm not finna be walking in the house and curtsying my mama. Like, I know they raised to do it, but that don't mean like, what? You what?
Right.
Why am I curtsying you? So, she didn't know how to curtsy. I was shocked, because I was like, I even know that, and I'm not the most feminine, like dresses and like wearing dresses and makeup and all that, but I know what that is, and I know how to do one. I suspect I won't ever need to do it, but I know
I'm not sure you could with your knees at this point. But anyway.
No, you ain't. I mean, it ain't about. She said she did a deep one. You don't have to do like touch the ground. I mean, it's just a little quick bend.
Yeah, right. You just have to do the little motion, basically.
Quick little dip. If you got a dress on, you're gonna grab the sides and whatnot. Anyway, she said she didn't know how to do it. They doing a training. That should have been your first cue that, okay, well, maybe I should do some research on this, because I'm supposed to, if there are certain protocols when I meet this woman, there are probably other protocols that I'm going to need to know. But she didn't do any research.
Then should have told her right there that things wasn't kosher.
Like that this was a different world.
Mm-hmm.
So, you talking about, so then they go on to the crying incident, where in the tabloids made it seem like she made, what's the brother's name?
William.
Prince William cry. Prince William's wife cry. But at first she acted like she didn't want to tell it. And I was like, now you here for an interview. And I know Oprah said she didn't give y'all the questions in advance and that y'all gonna talk about. So she was like, first she didn't even say it. She was like, no, that didn't happen. And then we all like, okay, well, what happened? Like you can't just be saying no, that didn't happen. Then she finally come out and was like, well, actually the opposite happened. It was about a wedding, some kind of wedding dress or bridegroom dress or something. I meant bridesmaid's dress.
Mhm.
But apparently the young person, the lady, I don't know her name, she apologized and I guess they pretty much, but the media, the institution, okay, that's the problem, Brian. When we have to call something the institution,
I was wondering how long it was gonna take before you called it.
Brian, the institution, I was just so uncomfortable every time they said the institution. I was like, when you hear mental institution or correctional facility, like you think institution, you in the institution prison system, or I
You
don't have good
associated you. It's a negative association,
I don't have good vibes
right?
when I use institution. It's like something ain't kosher. They kept using the institution. Oprah called it the firm. I was like, okay, now this ain't making it no better because the firm, the book firm, is not nothing good was out of that firm.
Yeah.
Um, it's almost cultish. Like it was almost like being in a cult. And
Yes.
you'll know why later why I say that,
Mhm.
people, ladies and gentlemen, and others, because I don't want to leave nobody out. Um, so crime happened. The institution told her, "We will protect you." Like that's what they told her. We'll protect you. Now, uh, the institution lied. They did not protect her. She lonely. She they told her you oversaturated or something. Because the tabloids out there talking about her. Some of it she don't even know, but her friends or whoever that's outside the bubble. She was almost in the one vision bubble,
Oh
institution
no.
vision bubble,
Yes.
because she didn't know what was going on. And Monica Rambo them like, hey girl, they out here trashing your name. You don't know. No, they gonna protect me. They don't protect me. They did. She feeling
Mm-mm.
lonely. She like, can I go out and meet friend whoever? No, you oversaturated. You can't go out. She said, but what you mean? I ain't been out in a couple of times in months. I was like, this don't sound right. None of this sounds right.
Yeah. It's like you have no freedom.
Yeah, and
They
then you
don't
talking
like
about
it, and basically it is that way. They telling you where
it's
to be and what
it's
to
a
do.
cult. You can't move. They took her driver's license, her keys, her passport. She
Mm.
said that's what they took when she got there. Now
The
let's
house
right
and the
there.
dog. Oh,
Let
go
me
ahead.
tell you, Brian. The number one rule when you out of the country, you don't from your passport.
No.
I don't care what they say. We would have thought about that. Harry, I'm not giving them my passport. Maybe she didn't have the courage to. I would no, you're not getting my passport. Y'all can have these keys. I can figure out how to get in my house or whatever. She probably wasn't gonna be driving nowhere anyway.
Right.
Um, I'm sure they don't need you don't need keys to get in the palace or whatever they call it, because some guard or somebody like ain't nobody just like, oh, I forgot my key, I can't get in the palace. Like that ain't the thing. You're not gonna take my passport. Even when you over there, they be like, okay, at least have a copy on you, because you don't want to, have it stolen or whatever. But if you're gonna have it locked up in the safe at the hotel or whatever, have a copy. You gotta
Mm.
have that with you. So when they said passport, I was like, red flag. You can get another driver's license, red flag. You can't get back into America without that. So I was more concerned. I was like, this institution sounded more like some kind of cultish behavior to me. So then we get to um why the Meghan and Harris child couldn't be a prince. Now that's when you start worrying about, okay, well, is this race? Because all this other stuff might not have been like that. Might have just been their protocols. We're gonna take, your driver's license. You don't need this. You don't need that. We don't want you out. because we know media is gonna follow wherever you go and whatever. That's bad in and of itself, but that might just be ready for a call. Well, why can't this baby be a prince? You don't have no idea, Brian. Like all the other grandkids gonna be called Prince. They daddy the Prince.
Yeah, I've never understood it, even because, even like you said, Dad was a prince, even though he has no hope of ever seeing the actual
But I
crown.
don't think that matters, Brian. I think when you the Prince, like being the Prince, just having that as your name holds weight.
Right. Well, I
Even
just
though
know
you
that,
know you're not
and
gonna be next in line.
I keep bringing that up as we talked about this off air as well, just because that's how I've always known Prince Harry. That, oh yeah, that's Prince Harry. He's never gonna see the. He's never actually gonna be the king. You know, he never actually gonna be in charge because his brother was born before him. But that he's still Prince Harry.
Yeah, but who
So
knows what could happen? First of all, Charles is not dead, so he would if this Queen, God forbid, fall off Earth tomorrow. Charles is gonna be in charge. Haha, like that. Charles in charge of our days and our
and
nights.
nice.
Okay. But then like we see people drop dead and stuff happen all the time. It could be like, bam. Or y'all gonna just act like Harry don't exist if for some reason something happened to Charles and the brother William? Apparently. Anyway, why that kid can't be a prince beyond me? And okay, forget the name. Then they told the girl that he won't have protection. He don't get the protection. And
Yeah,
I was like,
it's
wait
like
a minute.
it just
This
kept
ain't
going
sounding right.
deep.
Right. This ain't sounding right. Like this why would the kid not get protection? Okay, you don't want to call him Prince Archie.
Hmm.
Well, why doesn't he get protection? He's a part of the royal family.
Right.
And this ain't like no cousin 20 times removed. Like his father is the prince, the queen's grandson. What are we doing? So, uh, do you think the queen knew any of this? Because the way this sounds, because all I can go off the way it sounds, the
Well,
institution runs this thing.
right, and I mean the queen has since come out with a statement.
The
That,
wink,
I mean,
wink. She
yeah.
came out with a statement. The
Hmm.
institution is writing this, and she putting her name on it. Just like everybody got publishers, and they tell you what to say. Go ahead.
No, what she said basically that, you know, kind of saying that they didn't know much, they didn't know anything about this, and the things that were said in the interview were deeply troubling, and they didn't. It's like they were gonna look into it, but it's like, yeah, we're gonna look into this. It's not something that we approve of, whatever. And Oprah did come out and say in an interview the next day, I think on maybe Gail's show on CBS, that
Yeah, they had a little talk about. I didn't watch that.
that
I don't plan on
that
watching.
she
Y'all don't had too much already.
well, she had said, and I didn't see it either, but I just saw a snippet of it where she said that the Queen and King Philip, or neither one of those, were the ones who made the race comment, the comment about the baby's skin color.
But you don't have to. But see, that's it. That's the overt. These are the covert things. We're not going to protect your baby.
That's what I can't.
We're not going to give him a title.
It's not like
What
he
other
would.
like what else can I do besides he black? Like I
That
don't really have no other
right.
deduction to make.
That's all you can go from it, because it's not like, this goes back to our last show. It's not like he was a bastard son.
Right. Right. You know that his daddy is the prince.
Yeah, they were. I mean, they were married before they conceived.
Right. And you know that his mother and father are married. So what else am I to do? Especially when this comes up, like, well, what color is he gonna?
The only
Is he gonna?
if see that if the skin color thing had not come up, the only other thing you could possibly deduce would be that she's American. But
But
that would
he's
be
not. The child is not, and it's a male child, which makes it
more dominant.
important.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
cause they like male children are important in these settings, in these
Mm.
roles. Not that they don't care about the girls, but for all intents and purposes, they want boys instead. And so it's a male
Then
child, and you don't want to protect them. And as a father, I'm wondering. Archie didn't really speak on this. Like, Archie, what are you thinking when they saying I'm not gonna protect your son?
Harry.
I'm sorry,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
baby named Archie.
I
Harry.
about to say, I was thinking,
Yeah.
can Archie speak? Oh,
Yes, Archie knows how to say hydrate or something. They said when he want water, which is hilarious. Um, all the words to say water or
right.
hydrate. But Harry never spoke on how he felt when they was like, "We're not gonna protect your son." So then I was like, "This is just all kinds of mess." So then, um, the institution from like now I'm jumping to the end. You get the understanding that the institution has a close relationship with, I guess they call 'em the media or the paparazzi. Like we use the term
Right.
too, but
Yeah.
I don't think of regular news as being. But I think they regular news is kind of a paparazzi title, and like it's a codependent relationship. Like, hey, we having this. We gonna invite. We having these parties at the royal palace or whatever. Y'all can come, and
Yeah,
y'all
they've
make sure
had
y'all give us good press on the
right.
opposite end.
Well,
Go
that
ahead.
was there's many in the paparazzi that have come out and dispelled that, saying that's not necessarily true. I mean, we get invited to things that press would normally get invited to, but it's not like we're there for parties or anything like that. Like they made it out to be. So who knows? As he said, she said, I guess.
Look at here. Yeah. What else y'all got to report over there?
And I wonder how long this relationship has been so kosher because I mean, Princess Diana, by all intents and purposes, died because of paparazzi.
I think the institution has something to do with it, but that's another story.
Well, that's a theory. There's a running theory.
So, uh, then it comes up about some picture where you take a picture holding the baby out, I guess on some balcony. I don't know. I was like, why is this important? Why are you
Yeah,
asking why they didn't take a picture?
they
Who
did him
cares?
like blanket. Oh Lord.
Right. Who cares about that? Well, we didn't take the picture. Oprah, get on with the interview. So Oprah did. Oprah, like she was shocked when they said about somebody asked about the baby's complexion. And I was like,
Well,
Oprah,
look,
you
look,
black.
it
You've
wasn't
been
just
black all
shock.
your life.
It wasn't just shock. It was oh,
Shock and
what?
awe. Yeah.
What?
I was like, Oprah, why are you acting like these people are any different? Across the world, black people are not accepted by all of the like the world. That's a we saw that with George Floyd. You had
It's
London, you had like all these different countries. People were out that looked like us, black people, and they was like, "Yeah, we experiencing the same thing here." So I don't know what make you think Britain any different. And I don't told y'all they don't send a bunch of Brits over here to establish this country and take this land from the Native Americans. What you think these people came from?
it's a universal truth.
So, the institution is a mess. So
I
Megan
ne-
just seemed to be like she was.
she
I,
was
I
uncomfortable the entire interview. She never.
yeah.
I don't think she ever did get comfortable.
I don't think she ever relaxed because I think there's a even though they out of the cult, I think there's a little bit of a fear that some kind of backlash or something could happen.
Yeah, and it's almost like they were just fearful that a sniper would come at any moment, take them
Yeah, and
down.
so you Oprah showed the coverage of how William's wife is just it's got a nice baby bump. Oh, Megan can't stop touching her baby bump. Like they will have all kinds of like, and it'll be the same thing, but they put a spin on it. I really have no doubt that the press was racist. The press over there definitely racist because I was like, now that don't make no sense. They doing the same thing and you labeling it differently. Straight out of Compton or something. Really? Come on.
Yes. Yeah.
Come on, man. So that the media coverage was different. But here's the problem. Okay, you can't control the media. You say the media don't have that tight of a relationship with the institution. Well, the institution, you said you were going to protect her. You ain't gonna tell me some calls that can't be made. Hey, y'all need to change it on how y'all covering Prince Harry's wife.
Right. If you have that kind of relationship that you say you have.
So she's starting to get depressed, lonely. Prince Harry ain't with her 24/7. Like he gotta go out and do his speaking engagements, do whatever they do. She in this new place, which transitions are hard, by herself. She don't know any of the staff of them people in there.
Mm.
They
They do a good, and this is just off topic a little bit, but since you
Mhm.
brought it up about how they go off on speaking engagements separately and things like that, they
Right.
do a good job of showing how that affects couples on the crown. They do a very good job because there's many times where they're separate off doing this engagement or that engagement away from each other.
Yeah, I hadn't seen the crown. But in my mind, just knowing like that's gotta be stressful. Especially you in a new space. Like you in a new place and don't know about it. He gone, the one anchor that you have, and now she got mental health issues. Now she didn't want to say it, but she got to the
Right.
point where she was just like, I just didn't want to be alive anymore. And that right there, I was like, oh, that's terrible.
Yeah.
This is bad. So, and she said she was scared of the feeling, cause who wouldn't be like, oh, where did it come from? I ain't never had no suicidal thought. Like what? And then it keeps popping up. It keeps popping up. So she tried to get help, Brandon. What they tell her?
They basically try to sweep it under the rug.
Human resources said that you don't work.
Human resources.
Well, then that's what she said, Brandon. This
I
is why I was
know. I
confused.
know. I
I need
know.
somebody to tell me how the institution work because when we watch like regular movies where there's a king in charge and the queen, and you have the king have his assistant, and it don't seem like it's no business. This almost like it's some kind of business because she
You're
said she
right.
went to the head of the institution, so it's almost like that's the CEO or something of this company. Um, and they kind of blew her off because basically, I'm sure they saying we're not about to send you to a therapist or call a therapist in here, but it seems that you would need therapy no matter what color, where you are. Like somebody might in the place need therapy, and if you don't want it to get out that they in therapy, you should have an in-house therapist. But that's not a thing for them apparently. And so, no, we're not sending you to get help. So she said she decided to go to HR. And then I was like, how does this work? I need somebody to do a documentary on how this all works in that bubble.
Hmm.
Because HR said you don't work for us. So in the HR, she said, did she say something like they the lady or whoever she spoke to said, well, we understand and we feel your pain, but we can help you because you don't work for us.
Basically, in so
And
many words, yeah,
I was like, HR? Brian. She
that
said
ain't how that
HR. I
works.
went to HR. Brian, this is a family business. I thought. But
Right.
apparently it ain't. Um, so HR couldn't help her. So now she's suicidal. And I'm sure she's holding this because she don't want to tell Harry and well at the end she does say she didn't want to tell him at first because she didn't want to put more weight on him because he already was carrying the weight of the world, as she called it. I mean, I'm sure he had his own struggles in this whole situation. We'll get to him in a second.
Hmm.
So, um, so Oprah, she wasn't that shocked, but it was just like, oh wow, like this got real. And I was like, even before I saw it, and my mom had mentioned that she was suicidal. I was like, she got lonely, didn't have nobody, just like WandaVision. Obviously, what this ain't the same, but Wanda was in a bad space. She was by herself in a new environment. Like she had, and again, the husband can't be there 24/7. These people don't took your license. You don't have freedom of movement. That's awful.
Yeah.
For all y'all that can't imagine when we first was on lockdown and most people was like trying to stay in because of COVID, the pandemic. But imagine that you can't go out at all. Like you could go out if you needed to go to the grocery store, but imagine if you had to sit around and you couldn't go out at all and you had to stay. I don't care how big this palace is, that's gonna be miserable. You see people was out here protesting because they talking about they lost their freedom. But she really was pretty much in a pandemic like forever.
Oh
For
yeah.
years and couldn't move except for when they told her to. So yeah, that's stressful mentally. And I'm just happy that she didn't do it. Cause I don't know how they would have spun it if she had killed herself.
Yeah, that would have been something. Uh-uh. I don't know how they would have done that. I'm sure they would have done it though.
So then sweet little Harry comes out because the first part of the interview is
It's just her
just
and
Oprah
Oprah.
and,
Yeah.
and Meghan.
Megan.
So sweet little Harry come out and I was like, oh look at him. So uh, then they decided to tell us like, oh, if it's a girl or boy, because Megan had said she wanted to wait till her husband was there to disclose that it's a girl. I was like, great, no gender reveal party. We don't need nobody else blowing up something or
Mm.
starting a forest fire. None of that. So then it comes up that institution. Once they decide that 2 years in, they well, at least for 2 years, they said they had been talking about we want to step back. We don't want to be like senior people in this business. we we want a lesser role. But then when they decide they want to leave, people was like over there was like, oh, well, they just up and threw the queen under the bus and she was blindsided. And I was like, what? We have been talking about this for a while.
Right. It wasn't like it was just a spur of the moment situation.
Like no, we just so the institution started like, well, we ain't giving y'all security. It got so bad when they left. Tyler Perry had to get them a place to live and some security because Harry was like, he was concerned because they had been getting death threats, which had that kind of just came out later on. But they had been getting death threats. A lot of people knew where they resided, I think, in Canada or whatever. And all of a sudden, the institution like y'all security is in. You don't get security anymore. And it was like, well, what? And so Tyler Perry, I don't know how he found out, Lord Jesus. Anyway, but Tyler was like, hey, I got a spot in Malibu, wherever, somewhere in California. Y'all can stay there. I'll pay for y'all to have security. Come to the rescue. Way to go, TP. So then he said he was able to maintain because the mom apparently had left Prince Diana's mom had left him some money. I don't know if she knew something. She's like, let me leave these bags some money just in case they want to get out of this craziness. But they was able to stay afloat by that. They said they had no plans of doing these Netflix deals and all this other stuff. It came up because they had been cut off. And more
Mm.
Harry had been cut off because she wasn't really in it that long and wasn't gonna get them anyway. But Harry had been cut off. Um and Brian, how does this institution make money? I'm like, do you think that? Because that's why I want a documentary. Because like they be living a lavish life. So where is this money coming from for this security and all of this? Like, is the British taxes paying for this? Is that in the crown? How this work?
Mm, I don't know that they've even really discussed it. They have. I haven't seen how they actually go about their funds. Of course, I'm only 3 seasons in.
How many
Apparently,
seasons are there?
I think they working on 6 and got 7 coming. I believe.
Oh, with this new stuff, they got plenty to throw in there now.
Oh yeah,
Um,
and maybe that was the point
so I had no idea how this.
because
Because
we
even if
just
he was
getting
taxing the people, like they living so lavishly, like it seemed like they would be overtaxed.
yeah. I mean, we just getting to when Diana comes in the picture on the crown. So
Oh, it's
we
falling. So when did it start? Where it start? Do it start when the queen's daddy died or something and she become the head figurehead? I mean, figure.
right when she takes over way back when she in her younger, and it
Man, she
shows the
been.
animosity between her and her uncle because her uncle obviously her uncle the reason she became queen is because her uncle who was supposedly first in line
uh
uh renounced his whatever however you do where
Like
you just
like
turn it
like
down.
like like Akeem did. Well, he didn't do it. He told her, he said, "I can renounce my throne if you like." You know when they driving off at the end of Coming to America.
Yes, he renounced his throne, and then that put his brother in the spot, and then the brother winds up dying,
Oh,
whatever illness. So then she becomes queen, the daughter. She was the first daughter, firstborn. So
interesting.
yes, so there was some animosity there between her and her uncle, cause yeah,
He wanted back in after
of
the man
course.
died.
Oh yeah.
Ha ha. Too late, brother. So, um, we already talked about the racism in the house. Harry don't even have no Harry out here living in the forest. And he don't seen all these trees. He don't even know act like he ain't know racism exists. And I'm not saying he didn't know because when you live in that kind of life, you just live in that world. And I suspect it ain't a lot of black people there unless they work for them or something. So he ain't even thinking nothing about it. But now his eyes are open how he see and how they see treating his wife. And it's like, oh, oh, it is. Oh, there is a problem. And when whoever asked him about the child's color, you could see he was so uncomfortable, Brian.
Oh
I
yeah, he
thought
was
he was gonna
almost.
jump out of that seat.
Hmm.
No, I would not. I won't. I won't speak on who it was. And I was just like, tell the truth and shame the devil. Go on and tell us who did it, because now people gonna be looking at trying to figure out who said it in the past. Who went and told him? You know, people was having that conversation at the water cooler, but nobody was supposed to go and actually say it to him. You know, that
Yes.
was a conversation at the water cooler in the institution, in the conference room before meeting. So, um, he out here don't know nothing. He don't even know how to help her because he just been born in that life. And Megan was like, unlike you see in the movie, they don't have no school to teach you how to do this. So she Googling stuff trying to figure out what's the national anthem. And I was just like, this is ridiculous. So she didn't get any support. And at the end of the day, they still would be there if they had gotten support. Because he said the same thing, like, Oprah asked him, which I have left, but they didn't have the support they needed. Talking about not taking care of my kid. Basically, she don't told you she is suicidal and y'all don't want to get her no help. Harry sounded like he didn't like being there because he said he felt like he was trapped.
Oh my. Yes.
He felt like he was trapped. I was like, this is horrible. Like from outside looking in, it seemed like y'all copacetic and what? No. And then he said he felt bad for his brother and whoever else because I guess he got the feeling that they feel like they trapped, and now they might be hating because he don't got out of the cult.
Oh yeah, he said there was some animosity between him and his dad, and him and his brother, but he felt like that would work out in time.
If the brother want to be free and he can't be free, I don't know about it working out. And the daddy, well, the daddy got a strained relationship because the daddy at one point wasn't taking his calls, Prince Charles.
Right.
I guess he a Prince Charles.
Hmm.
Uh, and he's from at the end of the interview, it sounded like they were taking but it still wasn't good relationships. But he said he was gonna try to keep working on it. Um, And then Harry was shocked that his security was removed, and they was like, "Bye, Felicia." It ain't funny, but it kind of is. This is like that was like the institution. Like, you don't want to be here, you don't get no perks. Bye, figure it out. Just like Jazzy Jeff was thrown out of the house, that's what they did on the Fresh Prince. They tossed him out
Yes.
and been like, "Bye, Felicia, you better figure it out." And then they cut him off financially. I don't think that came out in the press.
I think
Obviously, I
I
wasn't
remember
following it like that either,
right.
so
I
it could
remember
have come
I
out.
remember hearing something about the fact that they were going to be cut off from any finances that they were being given, even though they planned on continuing their servanthood and going out and doing their little engagements.
Well, so I think though, let me take a step back. I think they were supposed to be financially doing something like, you know how you get a service package.
Right.
I think that they were like, okay, you gonna get this until June, and then you on your own. But then they was like, no, we cutting you off. I feel like that's kind of what happened.
Yeah, they
So
didn't
he
even
knew
get their
eventually that
severance.
they would be on their own, but then it happened faster than I suspected the conversations were had. Um,
It's HR's fault.
HR was like, "Oh no, the institution. You know, the institution run through the board. They run everything." So the people over in England, they all love the Queen and all. I don't know. I don't understand it,
Hail
but
to the
whatever.
Queen.
Hell to the Queen and running for the Queen, whatever. Well, they need to do some classes over there on genetics because one, Brian, if I'm fair skinned, my husband white, my father's white, and my mother barely brown, what color y'all think this baby gonna come out?
It's not gonna be
Why would
black.
you ask
So
what color the baby gonna be? The baby might have some brown to it. It ain't gonna have much.
right, it might have a little tan,
And white people
maybe.
come in different colors. Cause the
Yes.
funniest thing in my experience with is hearing some white person say they dark skinned. What? Wait a minute. Whoa, wait a minute. And when the first time I heard a white person say that about another, like they was a dark skinned person, I was like, okay, y'all true.
Hmm.
What you mean dark skin? But I mean, if you line up several white people, just like black people, you have the
It's
pale, the
shades.
ghostly looking, right? Then you have the
It's
pinkish look.
shades.
Like there's different tones to it. But I was just like, what? What are y'all? And y'all did know. You think this baby gonna come out looking like Idris Elba? Like
Right.
what? What? Little
And
Archie
so
gonna
what
do?
if it is?
Right. What does it matter? Which we can speak to Mr. Prentice Pearson getting
Oh,
fired. Well,
yes,
he resigned from his
Pierce
job.
Morgan.
So, but they would have stayed if they had gotten support. This overhaul story to me was just troubling. Cause again, I felt like this was more of a cult than anything. Like when you get in a cult, what's that one religious kind of thing that they talk about, like not Brad Pitt, double O, they always talking about people in the
With
industry, the
Tom
music,
Cruise and all them, and
yeah, yeah,
yeah,
it almost feels like something like that
something
because
like
it's
that. Yeah,
secretive and you you get in there, you don't have freedom of movements. And Archie even said like a lot of the times when you see them smiling and stuff, they out, they could be sad. Matter of fact, when they showed and they did a good job showing video of certain parts, and they was like,
Scientology, Church of Scientology.
yes,
Yeah,
when she finally told her husband she's suicidal, they figure out that they ain't gonna get no help about it. They had a speaking engagement the next day, and this was they would be together in this one, and or an appearance. I won't say speaking engagement, an appearance.
hmm,
And he was like, maybe you should stay. And she basically was scared of being alone because apparently she couldn't fight off these suicidal thoughts. And she was like, no, like, no, no, I'm gonna go. And then they showed the picture of them clutching each, like holding on to each other for dear life. And she said she cried through that whole thing. She would like when they had a break from being whatever, she cried, cried, cried. Then when they be like, okay, you on, pull yourself together, go back out here with this smile on your face. That's gotta be draining when you can't be authentic. Like I I don't wanna have to imagine. I just be like, okay, I gotta put this smile on my face. And a lot of people that's in the entertainment industry understand that because on that Good Morning Britain clip that I watched, they had Shaka Khan, and she was like, "Yeah, it's something that you really have to experience to kind of know how it is like to have this face on all the time, especially when you're out in the public, no matter how you really feeling inside." And so that was I didn't know Shaka Khan had been living in Britain for 30 years or something crazy she said. I was like, Shaka, I don't know where you been. I didn't know you was over in Britain. But ain't that where Eve is? Did she marry some British dude or something?
I don't know.
Okay. You know who Eve is?
Yeah,
Okay.
the rapper.
Yeah.
Barbershop.
Yes. Who done drunk in my apple juice? So I'm curious. I'm not gonna start watching the what you say the Queen watching the what's the
The
name of it?
Crown.
The Crown. I'm not, but I'm curious how this whole thing works because this institution sounds like a bunch of horrible. Um, and I want to know what people look like in there. Do they have any diversity? Because
No.
for people to say like for Harry to act like he was shocked that this was happening, for people asking questions about what color the baby gonna be and all, I was just like, this is crazy. And can you imagine in like 2 or 3 more generations when Archie's have some kids and he have some kids and they be on Finding Your Roots and they be like, oh, did you know your father, your great great grandfather was a prince? You know how they be. Have you seen Finding Your Roots? Have you watched
Yes.
any of them when they be going
Yeah.
back? Like, really? Yeah, he was a. Go look for it's a whole video of Oprah. And be like, who is Oprah?
Nah, he ain't gonna be saying that now. Everybody gonna know who she is.
In 3 or 4 generations, everybody is not gonna know who Oprah is.
I'm just trying to figure out what happened to is William so stressed out? Is that why he's losing his hair? Because Harry
William is
got a
bald
hair.
and Harry look
Harry,
like he might be having a bald spot too. It's coming.
and then I mean, and the daddy got hair. So I'm just trying to figure out how.
Well, so this is the thing that people may not understand. That comes your mother. That's an X chromosome. That's not a Y. I think I'm saying the right one. Yeah,
Mm,
Y. That comes from your mother's side.
oh,
Because if it was a Y chromosome, women wouldn't bald because we got 2 X's. Lord, I hope I'm saying these letters right.
listen. And then I'm looking at pictures right now as we're
Hmm.
talking and going through just different pictures of them. The royal family out and about on these little deals when they were all together.
Hmm.
For all the things that Megan was going through at the time of being a part of this cult,
It's really seemed like a cult. Go ahead.
she actually seems in pictures now. I mean, you can fake it, but she actually seems. She looks more comfortable than Kate does. Kate looks really
Kayla, like
uncomfortable,
she
and
be not happy the whole.
it
Like
just look like it's so fake. The smiles that she puts
yeah,
on.
yeah.
I mean, Megan actually looks
Megan
natural.
smiles genuinely look like, oh, I'm really happy here.
Yeah,
It's like, smile
it's
for the camera. Okay. All right. What else we got to do? um. Well, at the end of it all, they seem like they happily ever after. They got Archwell that they've started. They had a baby girl, and that's the end of children for them. And it's gonna be a little firestorm with this, and people upset that they got married 3 days before that fiasco that they put on for the world to see. And that was a thing in the Good Morning Britain. Um,
Mm-hmm.
people were seemed like people was like, "What?" Be like, "Yeah, but you don't have a right to anything like that mess that they did." Lord, let me not call it a mess. It just was too much for me, Brian. I didn't watch it all, but I saw enough to know. I was like, who would have wanted to go there and be there all day for these?
Not I.
Oh, thank you for inviting me, by the way. I was like, bro, who wants to go and do this?
So overall impressions, I mean,
The institution is not a good place. It's like being
no.
in the hex. Because you know the people in the hex, they was like, I'm so exhausted. From the mailman was tired. The people saying they was having bad dreams. Don't tell my husband don't come back. Like, yeah.
Oh my goodness, we're having your nightmares.
Right, exactly. We live in this nightmare. Um, and when that young man Harry said, I felt like I was trapped. I was like, okay, well, this is just way worse than I could have probably even imagined. Because you was born into this. This is the norm for you. Like it wasn't the norm for her, but it was for you since you was a child. And then he talked about. I guess he felt whatever was happening with his mama, and people be like they hiding this, that, and the fifth, but kids be knowing, and I don't know how they be finding out some stuff.
Yeah,
So
because you can try and and hide things from them all you want. They know. They all. It's always a way of them finding out.
they
'Cause,
spirits take it in, I guess. And so, and I'm sure and did he say he was? Yeah, he did. Harry did say he was scared of history repeating itself because his
mm-hmm.
mama, well, she didn't commit suicide. The institution, wink, wink.
Yeah, they came after.
But she didn't. He didn't want the same thing, and I don't know about the suicidal part, but he didn't want the same fate for his wife.
Well, he was
So
worried that a paparazzi would cause another wreck
an
like it did.
accident in a
Yeah,
tunnel. Was it in a tunnel or something?
I
Right.
believe so. Yeah, in Paris,
So um,
and there
yeah,
are
that
a
was
lot of
always. I was like,
parallels.
what? Don't the driver know how to do strategic driving? What is happening? Anyway,
And there are a lot of parallels between Diana and Megan that that you read articles about because obviously both of them are outsiders into the family, and you know both of them were media darlings. That they were just loved
I don't
in
know. The
pictures.
media didn't like Megan, but
Well,
okay.
not necessarily love, but love to talk about and love to put up.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
you got that right. Man, she was look at her always touching her stomach. Be like, a lot of pregnant women do that. I don't know what it is. I haven't been pregnant, but it's a thing.
I wonder how dark this girl gonna be.
Lord, that baby ain't gonna be no more darker than the sun. He looked like he perfectly white. So I don't know what. Well, Archie,
And
I,
people, I was joking, people. That was a
I know
bad.
you were.
I just had to clarify for the people. They can't see me.
Right. The cute little thing, Archie's chick in when they went in to where they lived and saw where they had their roosters that they
Yes.
say or whatever. So yeah, some people don't lost their jobs because they in their feelings because apparently Megan went on a date with Pierce and he never heard from her again, and he talking about that was the same date. I don't want to call it a date. He said they went out, and he said, and these are
Oh,
his words.
I didn't even know this.
Oh yeah, he said in this video footage, of him almost kind of bragging, saying, no, actually he was less bragging than a little salty. Yeah,
Hmm.
we went out together, and that the night that we went out after she left the date with me or whatever, she went to a party or whatever where she first met Harry, and I never heard from her again.
Oh, I did hear this
And he
story.
was
Yes,
feeling
yes, yes.
some kind of way, and he ain't never got over that. And I was thinking, if it was a date, aren't you a little old for him?
That's what I was thinking. Yes.
It's like, sir,
Now I
you
didn't
think she
realize
wanted
she
to date her
was,
daddy?
she was. I mean, right close to my age. I didn't realize she was 39.
Well, Pearson look like he all of 60 something.
Oh,
Like,
he on up there. I'm just saying.
oh, she,
It's for
that
yeah.
Pearson. She didn't
It's
want to be with no old man.
it's too much. It's too much. Yeah.
But he was in his feelings about that.
And you are too old to be worried, to be that concerned and that upset. Just move on.
And Brian, maybe they were saying, um, maybe it was the way they said it. They didn't mean anything by it. They were, Brian, unless we family like me and you, and
Mm,
if we hadn't having a kid or something, and it'd be like, Brian, what color you think the baby gonna be?
mm.
Like, and we would like it was like this is our relationship. We like joking, or if you was dating some other black woman or something. Not that Brian date black women people anyway, but you'd be like,
They
that's
call me
something that I
Gary
could
Owen.
say to you, and it would be okay, and you would be knowing that I'm not talking about it
Right.
because I really care that much. Because my first thing was, Lord, this is George Jefferson all over. Because you know that whole time when his son, is the baby gonna be a zebra? I was like, Lord, y'all gotta stop. You think the baby might be white? George, your son is black. She
Yeah.
black. Yeah, her daddy white. But why would the baby come out any other color than probably some brown shade of brown? Obviously, that's a fiction show, but there are plenty of people out there that be concerned about that for real.
The
Um,
Jeffersons and All in the Family would not survive in today's
oh
climate.
no, no,
They would not make it.
you know the worst show that would the if they did make it, they would have to cut some of him calling him a cracker or whatever. But Three's Company definitely would make because
Oh
him
no.
calling him a fairy and all of that that did. I was like Three's Company. I'm surprised they show reruns.
All the time.
Yeah, because I was like, people would. I'm really
Mm,
shocked that people, and maybe they don't show the ones where he was always talking about because he thought Jack was gay.
yes.
For y'all that don't know what Three's Company is, I don't know what to tell you. Look it up, cause or the Jeffersons, like, cause there's probably a group of kids out here that might, look it up. That's all I can tell you. But yeah, they definitely would make, cause he
Yeah,
talked about him all the time, making comments about his sexuality. Um, but yeah, Brian, it was concerning when you can't get help because you suicidal. Um, because I was less concerned about the race stuff. Like I have no doubt that racism lives in Britain just like in America, and it might look different, but it's the same thing. But when you talk about, I'm telling you that I'm suicidal, and you kind of control my movements, and I can't go nowhere. And then you take my passport, which is the only way that I can leave this country.
right.
That's too much control for you to have over my life. And I'm glad Archer had the courage. He could have just tried to find a way to just make it work and prayed for the best about his wife's mental health. But he found the courage to leave. Bravo to him.
They, you know. Whew, well,
It was exhausting, Brian. It was. That
it
woo is
was.
watching that documentary. That and I don't know how Oprah and that Oprah do these kind of interviews all the time, but she ain't really been doing, I guess, like she do a Sunday conversation, whatever. But I suspect she was drained after this. Because she said
Yeah,
they had more footage, but obviously for time, whatever reason, they could show whatever. Because I was drained. I was like, this is a lot. And it wasn't but an hour and 20 something minutes.
right. But it felt like it just kept
I
coming.
was
It
like,
just
what? He talking about he feel like he trapped. She's suicidal. What are we doing? And y'all keep saying the institution. I'm so uncomfortable with the word institution. This is a cult.
oh, lordy, lordy, lordy. Well, yeah, that was interesting.
Whoever out there that like to do documentaries or something, or if it's a documentary out there that I can watch, because I want to know how it works, how the machine works. Because it clearly don't work like I think it works. Or like I would
If I
think.
unless I just missed something in the first 3 seasons that I've watched so far, I don't feel like they have mentioned any kind of way that that they make money or. So I'm gonna pay closer attention to that because I'm gonna start it back because I had to take a break because
Hmm.
like this interview, the first 3 seasons was just so much going on. And now that they done got to the point where he's fixing to start dating Diana, that Prince Charles, that is. He just broke it off with Camilla, who he is now back with, obviously, because he had an extramarital affair when he was married to Diana with Camilla.
Yeah, I had cheating with Kamala. I mean, I'm sure.
No,
Camilla. No, not Kamala Harris, y'all.
No.
Camilla. What are they names spelled any kind of way alike? Okay, go ahead. I got sidetracked. You know how my brain be doing.
So it'll be interesting to see going forward. I'm gonna start it back soon. I just had to take a break from it because I was just exhausted.
Yeah, if you find out, and they probably wouldn't talk about any of this, but I didn't know if they might have some snippets of how the institution, which again, this seems to run more like a business than just a family of royals. Like that, which I guess for them to make money, it has to be somewhat of a business. But yeah.
Well, people, we will be back on Monday.
Lord willing, we live, y'all. Y'all keep up alive out there.
Whatever happens between now and then, probably
get
into some tournament talk. The brackets will be out, so
March Madness is starting. When do you know when the girls and the men's bids go out?
Yeah, the brackets are for the men is Sunday, and obviously Monday night for the women's selection.
That's
Monday,
right. They do wait for Monday for the ladies.
But we can talk because at that point I'll have a pretty good idea. We actually on another podcast that I help with, Debbie Antonelli's podcast.
Yeah, check it out.
Nothing but net with Debbie Antonelli. Please take a listen wherever you get your podcast and wherever you get this show. You can listen to that show.
Yeah, check it out.
We will be interviewing Charlie Cream, who is the bracketologist for ESPN's women's bracket.
Yes, I was about to say, who is Charlie?
He is the bracketologist for the women's tournament for ESPN.
Okay.
We're interviewing him this afternoon, so check that out wherever you get your podcast. Nothing but net with Debbie Antonelli. But as always, I am one of your hosts, Brian Mackay, and I am with
T. Keep Hope Alive, Dave.
And this has been the Mackay T Show podcast. Thank you for listening.
This is the Mackay T Show. This is the Mackay T Show. We talk movies and TV shows, sports and world news, coasting like on a world cruise. Hosted by Brian Mackay and T Davis. Yeah, you can't tame us. We're going to the top, we're becoming famous.
What time is it?
It's time for the Mackay T Show.
What time is it?
I said it's time for the Mackay T Show.